I won't be doing the intro this time because this is serious and I need to get this off my chest. Straight up, this is about Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck. He's dead, okay? He's not unalived. He didn't die in GTA. He didn't get no scoped like the YouTubers like to censor themselves to say. He got killed. He was murdered. He was assassinated. Straight up, he's dead. I had a rent video prepared, a very important one, but after these last few hours, I'm gonna put that video on the back burner because we need to talk about choosing sides and why that's a bad idea to do. Get ready because this is the first time I'm going full political. Let's get this out of the way. I am conservative. I believe that if something isn't broken, then you shouldn't try to fix it. That is an ideology that I believed in for a very long time, and that's not going to change. And while I am conservative, I'm not right wing, I'm not Republican, but I'm not left wing either. I'm not a Democrat. You see, I don't like to pick sides. I don't like staying with one group and choose to remain loyal to that one group. Charlie Kirk is the perfect example as to why I don't do that kind of stuff. See, it's one thing for a political person to be killed, but this one actually sent a message that I understood loud and clear. And that message is this: if you use your right to free speech, they will kill you. They will kill you if they disagree with your take. Simple as that. Now, I want you to pay attention to what I just said because you might be under the assumption that I'm referring to progressives, Democrats, leftists, etc. But no, I'm not. Now, since I said no, you must think I'm referring to right-wingers then. The Republicans, the conservatives, etc. No, I'm not. See, that's the problem with these people. They like to go on and on about nuance and how everything isn't so black and white, but the minute shit hits the fan, all of a sudden the world is black and white with no grays in between. Which is why when they see this video, they're going to think I'm referring to either left-wingers or right-wingers, but no, I'm not going to do that because it's not that black and white. You see, I'm not going to criticize these two. The only people I'm going to criticize is the man who killed Charlie and those who support his death. Now, you may start calling me a hypocrite considering that I would celebrate with tears of joy if a pedophile or lolicon were to die in the same fashion. But here's the thing. When I do it, I don't pretend that I have the moral high ground. They do. I am completely aware that if I cheer for a person's death, I am evil. Like, straight up. I'm not going to sit here and deny that fact. It's true. And I'm proud of it. I don't regret it. And I show no remorse. See? No more high ground. But these people who celebrate Charlie's death, they're hypocrites. All of them. Because they act like they have a moral high ground as if they're good people cheering for his demise. No. No. You don't get to tell people that it's wrong to be happy someone's dead and then turn around and be happy yourself. Simply because you don't like them. That's not how being a good person works. You go on and on about being this kind-hearted person, but in reality, you're actually a heartless monster. And you're not willing to come to terms with that. You want to be this kind-hearted person, but you're not. Because if you were, you wouldn't be so happy that an innocent man was assassinated for simply grabbing his chair in front of all those people and spoke his mind. That was all he did. He spoke his mind and he was killed for it. And you enjoyed that. If he was a murderer or anything else that was heinous, I would understand. But this is an innocent man with a family to take care of. All he did was say something you didn't agree with. That was all he did. And he died for it. And instead of condemning it, you're celebrating for some reason. Now I gotta question why anyone would take your side. The right-wingers aren't on your side. They never were. The left-wingers aren't taking your side either, but you insist on taking their side so much that now you're making them look just as heartless as you are. But you're not fooling anyone. No one with any amount of human decency is taking your side. You first started out interrupting or ratioing people on Twitter, misinterpreting what they say and do, calling them all kinds of buzzwords. Nazi, racist, sexist, homophobe, transphobe, all of that. Bigotry, all that. Then, when that didn't work, you started to get more aggressive, making jokes they're not jokes, by the way, about waiting for your political opponent to just die already. Then, when that didn't work, you started calling their bosses or their sponsors to take away their livelihood by getting them fired or have their sponsors leave, make them lose their support, lose their fame and fandoms, communities, and all that. We call that cancel culture. And when people start to realize that cancel culture didn't actually exist and started to come up with ways to work around it, because that's what Charlie Kirk did. You tried to cancel him multiple times, and it didn't work. In fact, it only made him stronger. So, when that didn't work, you decide to say, fuck it, let's just kill him. And you're doing all of this because he said something you didn't agree with. That's the only reason you're doing this. See, if he was some politician that decides what your laws are going to be, that would be something. That would be something, but Charlie Kirk, he's just a content creator, like you, like me, and everyone else on this site. He goes to debates, records them, put them on YouTube, makes memes about it, posts his clips, and then he calls it a day, just like everyone else. He's just an ordinary guy. And you're happy that he's dead. And see, that's the real problem that I have. It's not the fact that he's dead. It's the fact that you're willing to let people die for making an opinion. You're fine with that. If you disagree with someone's take, then you should be allowed to kill them. That's what you believe. Like, actually. And that's my problem. Charlie Kirk died over an opinion. A subjective opinion. It's not even a fact, it's an opinion. And he died for that. And you're happy that he died for that. I don't pick sides. There's way too many things that I disagree with when it comes to the left. I agree with some of the things here and there, but I don't agree with all that they stand for. I agree with most things the right preaches, but sometimes they do things that I strongly disagree with, such as declaring civil war with left-wingers over something they did not have a hand in. The left-wingers aren't the ones that pulled the trigger. The guy who murdered Charlie Kirk did. The left-wingers aren't the ones going on Twitter and Blue Sky celebrating his death. Only those sick monsters who have no amount of human empathy whatsoever. They're the ones who did this. And yet, here you are, trying to make this a left versus right issue. And I'm not falling for it. No one is. This isn't a left versus right problem. This isn't political. This is humanity in general. This is a human problem. Universally, like this is a universal issue. We all deal with this. All of us. Any other group, anyone can commit acts of violence against someone. Anyone can murder someone over an opinion they disagree with. Anyone can do that. But it's never the group's fault. It'll only be that one person. And it will only be the person who supports them. They will be the only people at fault. Never the group. See, the problem that I have here is that you're blaming the many for the crimes of the few. That's a problem that both of you guys have, and that's why I don't pick sides. None of you can't see that this is a universal issue. You're not seeing that. You're pointing your finger at left-wingers. You're pointing your fingers at everything else except the source itself. You're not targeting the issue at all. You're fighting the wrong people. And you're letting the one that caused all of this to get away because both of you don't know how to act. You want to declare war? Declare war on the guy who shot him. Declare war on the very people who celebrates the deaths of innocent lives. Declare war on them. But I guess it's an unrealistic expectation for me to ask that left-wingers and right-wingers to actually focus on the real problem here. You live in a world where your opinion can get you killed. You live in a world where people like this will support that. This is a problem. A very dangerous problem, and you're ignoring it. But sure, go ahead and tell me how it's the Republicans' fault, that it's the Democrats' fault, the progressives, the conservatives, the left-wingers, the right-wingers, etc. Go ahead and tell me how they're the problem. I'm tired of this. Frankly, I'm really tired of this because no one is at fault here. No one. No one except for the person who took the shot and the people who supported it. They're the only people who did this, and none of you are doing anything about it. None of you. You're useless to this country. Charlie's death proves how useless you really are, because if both of you did your jobs, he would still be here, sitting on that chair, agreeing to disagree. I should have said this from the start, but I need to make this clear so that you don't make any mistakes, right? I'm not defending Charlie Kirk. I do not agree with his political beliefs. I am not a fan of Charlie Kirk. In fact, I don't even know who he is as a person. He's a complete stranger to me. I only know him through clips I've seen on YouTube, and that's it. I have no attachment to this guy. This entire video isn't to defend Charlie Kirk at all. In fact, this video is about defending free speech. And since we're talking about free speech here, let me go ahead and use that free speech by giving you a controversial take. In the grand scheme of things, Charlie Kirk did not deserve to die. Charlie Kirk has done nothing that was worth killing him for. Charlie Kirk should not be punished for the things that he says during these debates. He should be allowed to live peacefully. What happened to Charlie Kirk was not the consequences of his actions. They are not consequences at all. Stop pretending that they are.